I had a challenging session today with a life coach, and I've had another challenging session with someone else over the past 2 days. It's been quite an emotional time for me, but emotional, uncomfortable times can be one of the most challenging and important. Today, with my life coach, it was a sense of being questioned about the locations, places, and intentions I was going to for the type of relationship I'm looking for. I'm looking for something a bit more long term, but obviously I'm happy to look for fun, enjoyment, dating before I find that on my way to that. The challenge for me that I find with coaches and other people, and I think it's a really important thing for people to know if you are having coaching or training with someone who's a professional, and you want to be, on one hand, accountable. You want to be coachable because they're good traits to have. You've got to be able to do that to make change, so that's highly important. But at the same time, for me personally, I have to be able to trust people, and I have to be able to voice that sometimes I could feel manipulated or people pleasing. And that can be a really hard thing to say to someone, because you're essentially saying you're not 100% comfortable with them. You don't know if that's a projection or if that's actually the case. And so I believe in safety, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, physically. I believe in strength, and I think it's an important thing to have. I think it's important that kids are able to express their boundaries. If I was a kid, I'd want that for myself. If I had kids, I'd want that for them, and for young adults and for adults, because some of us haven't grown up. We may not have matured psychologically, emotionally. So I think it's an important trait. It doesn't really matter what age you are. I think it's for all people. You've got to be able to call things out and communicate it and express yourself. I think as a kid, I was challenged to speak up. I was a very shy kid, so I was challenged in that way. So for me, that's super important. And I know how hard that can be and how much of a struggle and how frustrating that can be. So I think for me, that would be a passion for me to share with others. And I'm learning to unlearn bad behaviors of calling things out and saying, I don't feel comfortable in this situation or this conversation. I feel like I'm defending myself, and calling out what you think is going on or what you're feeling for yourself, and then saying, is this happening? And you'll be able to tell if someone's manipulating you, because they won't act emotionally. They won't challenge you emotionally. They'll act supportively. And it can be a firm conversation. I had that with another guy. Thankfully, he's a strong-minded alpha male type guy that I could have that kind of conversation with him. Strong men will be able to speak to you strongly without losing their rag, their emotion, their temper, and staying in a firm but uncomfortable conversation, being able to agree to disagree, and that's highly important. So I did that today, and then I was rushed. I had the vanity of having a sunbed, which sometimes I use as a nap. And then the other thing I did is I had an awesome 2-hour bachata class as well. And then I'm back to work with a few sessions, then another call I have to take. So my days are action-packed with learning. And this stuff really helps me to connect and communicate with clients, which makes me a better trainer. So actually, at the moment, this is the first time in my life where I'm so confident in my actual physical training that I'm actually focused on investing in life coaching, therapies, and stuff like that, because I've spent so many years paying other trainers and coaches to train me that I've really now developed my own craft. I'm very proud of that. I know anatomy, I know biomechanics, I understand the dynamics and the instructions for bodybuilding, and I understand natural bodybuilding because I've never gone down that road of competing and needing to take artificial supplements for competitions. So yeah, I'm in a good headspace and place for that. I'm not trying to push or be desperate for clients anymore. I used to be in my 20s and 30s, very focused on just smashing business and going for money and doing it with passion, doing what I love, but wanting to hit numbers. Now I have more of a flow state and I'm more about being productive and doing my best job and being my best, that I actually attract people more so. I'm also more established over time. So it's a different game I am at with career and income and stuff like that.